Then may I have your attention, please? The show starts in 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go.
Welcome, welcome, welcome. Franco, you probably haven't seen my intro since the last time you were on the show.
It's a great intro.
Yeah.
I was here maybe 3 years ago.
You were here for my 50th birthday.
Yes.
Remember, you
yes.
played Happy Birthday
I played
for me.
Yes, I played.
Yes. Oh, I remember. Played Happy Birthday for me. That was my That was
Yes.
Snowman outfit day. Right, Blue? That was Snowman outfit day. Yes. Yeah, that was because you came on the show, and I've known you for numerous years now. I mean, it's probably about 4 or 5 years.
Maybe.
Because it was with Retromania.
Yes.
I met you through Retromania back in
Yes.
the day, in the Cody days. So
Yes.
great to have been around for a while. So let me look through here. We got numerous people. I want to say thanks to Rojas and Next Level, who's probably finished his show and invites everybody over here. So everybody, thank you for jumping in and coming and hanging out with us. Because today we're going to talk about retro gaming. So if you're into retro games, you're a little bit nerd like me, you're going to be able to get some information. And on this show, I don't tell you what one thing to use. I try to give you options. Then you decide what works best for you. You decide the app, because I'm not going to tell you that, hey, this is what you have to use. You decide what you want to use and figure out what fits your needs. And, that goes with any of the add-ons, APKs, and we're going to do the same thing with RetroX. So how are you doing, Franco? I haven't seen you in a long time. So how's things going for you?
I'm doing fine here. Well, RetroX has almost 8 years now. And it's very mature, but there is a lot of work to do yet. I want to do a lot of things on the application. There is a lot of requests from people. I try to listen to all, but it's always hard to follow them all. But I'm very happy with the current state of the application. And we are here to talk about the feature and the current state.
Yep. So, we're going to take a look at. So let's start with Blue. Nice to have you join us. And she's going to be hanging in the background. She's going to be hanging in the background watching the chat because I have to jump between monitors and computers to try to show my NVIDIA Shield today. And I have a second computer. Fingers crossed that it runs everything on that. So we will have that going. So Franco, let's start off with front loader. Because RetroX is a front loader that for an emulation, and emulation is when we want to take and play one console or one type of game on other devices. That's emulation. So for folks, when we talk, what's an emulation? That's what it is. When we want to play Atari, what? Oh, you're saying, wait, I'm sorry. So when we want to run one type of game, we run that on another device. So it's not the exact same. So you emulate it and do it. So when we want to play those retro games, we're emulating them on, well, for the most part, we're going to talk Android. Now, I know you do some other platforms, but Android is the main one. I know that it does have the Raspberry Pi, and then we do have another one that you were going to announce that's in the future coming up. But so it's emulation. So you take an older version of type of games, and you playing it on this. So you emulate how it works. So it's not the same OS, and so that's emulation. Now front end load. Now can you explain what a front loader is?
Yes, you have a lot of options to use emulators. There are several emulators for each system. For example, for the Super Nintendo, you have several emulators, and you can have them installed in your device and use the icons to launch the emulators. But there are applications like RetroX, and I can say, for example, Dig, Arc Browser, and other applications that allows you to have a centralized view of your games. And once you select a game, the application, the front loader or front end, launches the emulator. Basically, it's a simpler way to use the emulators.
Right. It's because the back end would be the emulator, which would be the core, which actually does the work. Your front end is your eye candy, your shortcut, your way of seeing things and saying, I want to play Dig Dug. I want to play Dig Dug, and it's a MAME, it's an arcade game, and you see that icon and you click it on Dig. You said Dig or RetroArch or RetroX, or you said Arc browser. And I don't want to say Happy Chick because Happy Chick's a little bit different because of the way it works. So that's its own little category. So I won't bother with that. But so when you're using one of these front loaders or front ends, you see that icon, and if you guys are Kodi folks, it's like a shortcut. So you click that, and it points it over and says, "Oh, we need to use the RetroArch core." And core will probably be dependent on what kind of MAME or what type of game it is, and it launches that game, and then the game will play. So the front end is just your eye candy, I guess, for the simplest terms, and your shortcuts.
I don't know if you have Uber Eats there.
Nah.
Yeah, that's like a front service because you go to Uber Eats and you ask for food, but you don't know how to get the food. You just ask for the food and you get the food back.
Yeah, you click the icon and then the car drives up and says, "Here's your food." You don't know how it got here; it just got to your door. So
So in other words, back end is like the actual kitchen preparing your food.
Yes,
the kitchen and the car, because the car has to get it to you. So, and that's.
But I think we're talking about the old days when you actually sat in a restaurant. Front end of the house, and then the back end is the kitchen. Damn you, COVID.
Yeah, we're getting back to normal. So. Just so that people understand, when we say in front end loader, we say front end, back end, that's the difference. And I just thought I would try to explain that so that people understand what the front end. Explain one thing. You said RetroX has been around for how many years did you say?
About 8 years.
8 years.
It's because RetroX started as a Linux application. It was a Linux device with the application running. And then later in 2014, it turned into an Android application. It started as a free-to-use application, totally free, for about 1 year. And then I realized that many people were interested on the application and they wanted their own feature. So I turned it into a commercial application in 2015.
Okay.
So, and here we are now, many years later.
And all right, so in one of the pluses, and I know that I'm gonna leave some of the features out of RetroX, and each of the front ends have their own unique things. Now, some of the stuff that I will say when people say when people get a shield, they say, I want to play old retro games. You know, that's almost always you see that on a post. And I'll say, how much learning do you want to do? How much work do you want to do? Because if you want free and you don't mind doing some research, you don't mind doing some work, RetroArch does a good job because that has all the cores. It does all the stuff. It does not have the eye candy. You see a list when you go to your games. It's a list. There's not much going on there, but it does take some time. To me, it was a little bit of work to set up every one of the emulators. With RetroX, what are the benefits of this is, so when I put this on the NVIDIA Shield, so you put it on there and it will ask me a login. You have to get a login information. I put in my login, and then it will say, where are your ROMs? Now, you do not support any ROMs. That's on the end user to find their ROMs. So you will find the ROMs, and you point to the ROMs, and I will talk about a way that you can kind of shortcut around that where you don't have to actually even point to it. You tell it where the ROMs are, and it scans them all in, scans the art, scans everything. And it doesn't seem like I had to work. I didn't even have to map it this time. I didn't have to map the buttons where you did have to open the controller and say, this is A, this is X, this is Y. You'd push each one of the buttons, and RetroX would say, okay, that's your buttons. I understand where those buttons are. Now, I noticed this last time. It doesn't. Now, so RetroX is your front end, scans for all your games, grabs the art, puts them in categories. So it says, this is PSP, this is Nintendo, Super Nintendo, blah, 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 blah. It also offers saves. So you can save your progress wherever you are in the game, and it's a cloud save. And you can up to 6 devices on one account.
Yes, 6 devices.
6 devices, and I could have 6 devices, and I've had RetroX on this device, and I had RetroX on another device. I could be playing in here, stop my game, save it, and then I could go in the bedroom and open it up and play it. Or I could have it on my phone. You can put it on your Android phone and say if I was on the bus or the train, I could play it there. So it offers that. Now you offer themes. That started, last year, maybe?
Last year, yes.
Yeah, I saw the themes where people wanted themes because it was kind of bland. It was kind of plain. And to me, you kind of went towards the Raspberry Pi look. A lot of people ported over some of those themes from the Raspberry Pi to that and says, hey, here's a new look. You can choose some of the cores that it uses. And I know for MAME, for example, because MAME has 4. What's it? 2008, 2010, 14.
2001, 2003, 2010, and 2014.
Yeah. And so MAME, which is arcade games, it has different emulators, cores on the back end. So some ROMs don't work in all of them. They only work in one particular one. So that's one thing about with MAME. It depends on the pack you get. You'll say, well, this doesn't work. Well, you need to open up and try another core, which that is nice for that. So those are some of the main things off the top of my head. What are some of the other features that RetroX would have that people would find useful?
Maybe EmuMovies integration. EmuMovies is a service to grab video snaps and artwork for your games. Typically, the people use it in a computer. They have to run an application in the computer to get the files. Then they have to transfer the files to their devices. But with RetroX, you go to an option, enter your credentials, and RetroX will do everything for you. Will download the files and store them into your device. So some features that you talk about, I was listening and I was thinking about why they are there. And most of them are because of my own needs.
Okay.
For example, I have a lot of devices here. I always testing new devices, and I never wanted to play games because I would lose my progress. Yeah. So I did that feature because I can throw away any device and pick another one and start and continue playing on. For example.
And that's all right. So all right. So if we have younger people watching in their 20s or below, they don't understand the thing that you used to lose your progress. So for us that maybe played Nintendo or Super Nintendo or arcade games, if you turned off the machine or stopped playing, you started from scratch when you went back over, where saves are common sense and they're common now of the games. Back before, that was not common. I saw someone posted a thing about Mike Tyson Punch-Out, and they said it took them forever to beat all of Mike Tyson because if you turned it off, you had to start from the first guy again and work your way through it. And I remember numerous games in my NES days that I didn't turn the machine off for days because I think it was Super Mario that you would get to a point and I don't want to turn that off because I'm where I'm at and I don't want to stop. And so I'm gonna leave it until I can play it the next day. But with the saved feature, your save feature that does offer that pause or that snapshot, and you can start right where you left off.
Yes. I read in some Facebook group when people say that he didn't use saves.
Yeah.
And just out of curiosity, I went to my server to see how many saves are there, and there are almost 1 million saves.
Yeah.
So it's a feature that a lot of people use.
Yeah. Well, I did want to ask about the saves. So is there a way to delete all of your saves, or do you have to delete them per game? Like I noticed, like when I reinstalled mine, you know how you at the beginning you'll see all your saves loads. I didn't know. Is there a way to delete all of your saves, or do you have to do a per? I know in a game you can clear out.
No. There is another access to your account using a website, which is called login.retrox.tv, and then there you can manage your saves and you can delete saves.
Okay. So
it's not so public, but there is a way to do it. Okay. I haven't do it in the application because Android is very hard to do. User interfaces in Android is a hell. So some features are in other place, not in the Android application. In this case, it's a feature that not many people ask about it. So I have never move it to the application.
Well, I'll have to look because that would be you would just do the where you log in, just like I know that it had to log in because in the past I've logged in to my account online.
Yes,
when I wasn't sure.
In that place, you can reset your password or set a password or change your account settings.
The other thing is, and this is from a personal side because I've used this RetroX for a number of years now. You're allowed 6 devices.
Yes.
Is now on the login website, are you able to remove any devices or can it only be done by someone like you? Because you know, because I have old devices and I'm like, I don't need that. And it only allows you to remove one to add one.
Yes.
Yes.
When you reach your device limit, you can remove one.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't have a way to manage the devices because certain features like that you will see it once in a year. so there is no much point in spending a lot of time in that part.
Okay. Well, I was just curious. I mean, again, that comes from me I've had RetroX for a long time, and I noticed it today because I had to reformat my Shield because I'm going to have to send it back. The Ethernet port's bad, and I thought maybe if reset would fix it, but it didn't. But so I reinstalled, and I saw all those saves. Now, one of the keys, and I'll say this, and this maybe this is maybe a lot of people know about it, but I don't think people know about with RetroX, that zip file. Now, I don't see you promote that very much. You know what I'm talking about? The zip that has the folders for all the games. That I think it's on your website. Go ahead.
That's the RetroX collection.
Yes.
Yes. When I started RetroX, it was created just to be used by me. So what I did is to establish a file structure, a folder structure.
Yes.
Where you have one folder for each system. So you don't have to set up the folders in the application. It's a way to make the process more simpler for me. So I had a hard drive with the folders, and that was all that I had for my files. But as more people started using RetroX, some people asked me a way to add just one folder. So they wanted to download a file into a folder, and then they wanted to add a folder. So I implemented a way to add individual folders. But the original method, the automatic method, was still there.
Mm-hmm.
So for some people, for example, if you want to change your devices a lot and you don't want to add the folders one by one, you can create a folder structure that will be picked up automatically by RetroX. That is called a RetroX collection.
Yeah, and it's now if you set your device up with this. Now I have an external drive, and we'll show this in a little bit. I have an external drive, and in RetroBox it has the collection, which is my ROMs, and every one of them is a folder like NES, and it has like its name, how RetroBox or RetroX looks at it, and if it's named in there correctly, and you put your ROMs in there. When I installed RetroX today, it automatically looked in there. It knew what folder. Whereas normally what you would have to do is say, I want to add a console. And then they'd say, where's that console? And I'd have to go to my external drive. Oh, there's that folder. There's my Genesis folder. Click it. Okay, scan that one. And then you would do it one by one. And if you have a lot of consoles or a lot of emulators, it's a pain in the butt. But if with that zip folder, makes it a breeze as long as you put the ROMs in the right folder.
Yes.
Like the only hard part is when you get to that MAME and knowing which version of the MAME you have. Is it the 2001 or the 3 or the 10 or the 14? That was the only issue that I ever had. But
I always recommend not to start with MAME. It's easier to start with an 8-bit or 16-bit console.
Yeah.
For example, Sega Genesis, Mega Drive, Super Nintendo, they are easier to try to set up.
Yes.
MAME is quite complicated, but if you don't use RetroX and you use the standalone MAME emulator, it's harder to do it because you have to manually install all the 4 versions to try it out.
And the other, this just reminds me, in RetroX, another bonus of this is that some MAME games need several zip files. So you'll have, I can't think of a game like some games.
Neo Geo, for example.
Neo Geo, right? All right. So Neo Geo games, you'll have the Neo Geo game, and you'll download that ROM or that zip file, and you're like, oh, I can play it, and you open it up and it doesn't work. But it's because that Neo Geo game needs other dependencies. Dependencies that it has to have, other zips, because the way that they make it smaller is so that, let's say, some fighting game, the zip is only like 10 megs, but it needs these other zips to make it work. RetroX actually tells you what's missing. So when you go to try to load a Neo Geo game and you're missing, you go to play Metal Gear Slug, and Metal Gear Slug won't open. It says you're missing this zip, and that does help you because then you know where to go look or what to look for, and drop it in that folder. And then if they're all in that folder, then it'll play. But that is a neat feature.
Okay, I got a question from a newbie point of view. Okay, so MAME or MAME or whatever you call it is what exactly though? Like, I mean, is that specific games only work on that? Like, if you got Nintendo DS and you've got PSP and you've got what else do you got there? Genesis. What else? I don't know. See, I don't even know. Are those normal specific folders?
Yes.
Are those ones easier to find? Now, which ones are the hard ones?
MAME is for the name MAME is Multi Arcade Machine Emulator.
Yeah.
It's one emulator for a lot of different machines that you found in the past in the arcade rooms. I don't know the name.
It's arcade machines. Yep.
Arcade machines. Yes. So.
Okay, so anything that was mainly a console is pretty easy to play, but things that were actual arcade games are hard. Okay.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Yeah, because
Thank you.
and that goes back to, and like he said, if you want to build up your confidence, do a Super Nintendo or Nintendo. That's pretty basic. You drop it in there and it's good to go. All right, I wanted to ask you a question, and this comes up a lot, in so that you can address the cost. And I know you had one cost structure, and I jumped on that back in the day, and then you changed your cost structure. Can you talk about the cost structure and why the cost structure changed and that kind of stuff?
Yes, initially the application was free to use. Everyone could run it. Then I started to realize that there was a lot of support to do to the users. Many people using the application will find many different kind of problems depending on which device are they using, which version are they using. And I started the commercial version, and it was very cheap at the beginning. I think it was about $5. You pay for $5, and you could use the application for all your lifetime. Later, I found that the price was too low, because the time spent on working the application was a huge lot of time. So I increased the price to $12.99. A lot of people in UK were very supportive to that change. They were happy for me because they knew how hard was to do support for the application and add new features. Yes.
Okay, Franco, quick question. $12.99 a month, a year,
at that time
or a
was
lifetime?
At that time. But later,
okay, and now
I started to see other applications like RetroX that were dying because the developers were not able to work on them. So I started to see the feature of RetroX in Risk, in Jeopardy. So I changed the license to pay the same 12, but once a year. And many people didn't like it. Even there is a Facebook group with people that are enemies of RetroX because of this. It's crazy.
It's true.
Some people from the USA.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, big shocker there. $12.99 a year.
Yes, it's about $1 a month. So
yeah, I know Todd has been using it for years, and he swears by it. He's told me that a million times. He goes, it's so easy to set up, because he's tried other ones, and he was like, oh my God, the work that goes into it, it's not worth it. Like, but he loves yours. I know that. He's been talking about it forever.
Yes, my focus is the people that appreciates the work on RetroX, the people that support RetroX in the communities, or even many people talk to me to give a hand to help RetroX grow. And the people that think that the price is too high, or the subscription is not worth, they are not my users. They can go and use another application. I prefer to have happy users than complaining users. It makes my life better. I always talk with other people that do programming and computers and everything, and they always have problems with the users, because the users are always complaining. In my case, my users are all happy, so they make me happy back. So I mostly focus on them. So it's more an invitation. If people want to help me move RetroX forward, they are welcome. If they don't, they can go and use other tools. I was thinking, for example, some differences between using RetroArch and using RetroX is that sometimes there are bugs that that are present in RetroArch that I have fixed for RetroX. For example, there was a work that I did in the Sega Saturn emulator. You can play Sega Saturn in RetroArch, but if you try to save a game, it will crash. If you have turned the rewind feature on, it will crash. If you try the emulator in an older device, it won't work. You will see a yellow screen. So I downloaded the code. I looked for the bugs and I fixed it. And if you have RetroX, you can play Saturn without worrying about these kind of bugs. So that kind of work takes a lot of time, and you have to do it from time to time because the environment changes. For example, Android changes. Android, I don't know, the latest good version of Android for me is it is Android 6. But after Android 8, they have made many changes that broke emulators and broke RetroX, and you have to fix that. So, for example, the Amiga emulator, I spent a lot of time trying to fix it for Android 8. So, if I have to allocate time to work in RetroX, I have to stop working on other projects and stop working on other business. So I have to choose. And I don't want RetroX to die because I can't work on it.
Yeah.
Yes. And wasn't as the Android has moved along, there was an issue with permissions in some of them, wasn't it, with the emulators? Because of one, it was like the front end could not request usage of something in the back end of something. Because I thought one time you and I were talking, and you were talking about a version of Android, and you're like, it's a pain because this Android's saying, yeah, you can use this, but this can't call this. But so the reason why Android's doing that in some aspects is they're trying to protect people from some type of malware doing something on the back end. And that's why Google, and I'll say Google because they tend to be behind a lot of the Android stuff. That's why they're doing it. They're trying to protect people because they don't want some simple program to launch a backdoor program. So they put these safety measures in, but those safety measures create a problem for people like RetroX and Franco that are creating an emulator that's calling on several things to run because they all have to run together.
Okay, here's a question. What exactly is RetroX? Is it a APK? Is it involved with Kodi? Is it what is it exactly?
It's an APK.
Okay.
As well as a Raspberry Pi. You support Raspberry Pi still? Or
yes, you can run Android on Raspberry Pi 3 and 4, so you can play RetroX there.
Okay, because I know you saw it on the website. Which one do you want to download, Android or Retro or for Raspberry Pi?
Yes.
And what is Raspberry Pi's? Is it an offshoot of Linux though?
It's a small computer. I don't have one.
No, I do know what it is, but as far as the
OS,
the OS of it.
Yes. Okay. Typically, people use it with Linux. That's the main operating system.
Yeah.
But there are some Android images that you can run there.
Oh, okay.
Because you can use an SD card to boot the system, you can choose between an SD card with Linux or Android.
Yeah, I have was it the Rasp Pi? I have a Raspberry Pi, but I mainly used it for a Plex server. That's what I was doing.
Right.
Yeah.
So, all right. So that was some of the questions. All right. EmuMovies. And that was one of the newer features that you've added. And you mentioned EmuMovies. And I posted it in the link, y'all. I posted over there. And where that is it gives you an opportunity to download images, your art, your thumb images, as well as snapshots. Now, Have you added the snapshot feature? Because some of the themes that I mess with, I didn't have the snapshot the snap, the video snaps.
The
I
video
didn't have.
snap. Some themes support it and some not, because it's a quite a new feature. So older themes that don't support it.
Right. So for people that are like, well, it's a video snap. So if you have a Raspberry Pi, or you have an old, if you remember walking up to an arcade machine, and you walked up to an arcade machine and you saw it playing a demo, it was playing a demo. Video snaps are in, I know Hyperspin offers it a lot, and I've seen it in a lot of Raspberry Pi builds, where you see when you go down the games, you see the thumb image of the game, the cover art or the box art, then you would see the video snap of a loop of that,
like actual game.
It would be like a 10-second little thing.
So it's like a video game trailer.
Yeah, kind of little trailer playing on it. So, but EmuMovies will offers you a way to download that, because you need to have some space if you're going to do that kind of stuff. If you have a large collection of ROMs, every one of those snaps and it starts going to grab it, that can create some storage issues if you're on a limited device. And that's why I have mine on I have all mine on an external, so I don't have to worry about that. So
at the beginning, I was very against that feature because of that. I thought that there were a lot of people that will have problems with the storage. But two people pushed me a lot, Stuart Lowe and Alan McDonald.
So Stuart.
Yes, they pushed me a lot for years until I did it. But I was very against, because it's not the same to play games on a Linux system like the Raspberry Pi or a Windows system like your PC. It's very different from Android. Android is very restrictive. Even at the beginning, the memory that the applications could use was very low, so videos won't work there.
Yeah.
But today, they work.
So, all right, Stan's asking, is this a plug and play, or do you got to go find everything? So it is no, it does not have the ROMs. He does not offer the ROMs, does not offer that. You need to get the ROMs yourself, but if you get the ROMs, you put them in the folders. The installation of the app is pretty straightforward. When you're walking along, you go into settings, you go into the games, you say where the folder is. It scans the folder and says, oh, those are the games. One of the cool things about, so some of the remember the old front end loaders that would take hours and hours if you had a big collection? Yes. One of the first front loaders, and I can't remember the name of it, it took hours to download my library because it would grab the art. You were kind of smart on that. You went and said, it scanned my whole library in like, I don't know, 20 seconds. And I was like, holy shit, how did it do that? But it didn't grab any art until I went to actually click on, or when I went down the list, then it grabbed the art, because you were like, maybe you'll never go to that game. It's never going to need that art. Why waste the bandwidth grabbing art that you may never use?
Yes, I've seen people with, I don't know, maybe 20,000 games that we know that they won't play everything. So yes, what I did is that RetroX downloads the artwork by demand. If you need it, it's downloaded. And only in the case that you want to grab files that RetroX don't have, you can use EmuMovies to do that. But that is an option, and that is an option that is known to be slow. But I thought that RetroX should be very fast between the first install and the first game to play. Most other systems, you have to do a lot of things before playing the first game. My approach is to make the system know how to do things and not the user teach the system how to do things. That's the way it works.
And I've messed with a lot of emulators, and RetroArch being the top dog. Hyperspin is great. Hyperspin is great, but you really need a PC to set it up for the most part. You need a PC to set it up, and then I think I think they stopped support of Android, if I'm not mistaken.
Probably.
I think Hyperspin stopped support for Android. They went to Android, went to the Shield, but I'm almost positive I read that they stopped support because it was too much hassle. They said it was too much work. They couldn't be bothered. They stuck with it. How much is Hyperspin? I mean, Hyperspin for a lifetime is like $100 or more for a lifetime for them. So, but beautiful work. They do great work. That is
Launchbox.
Huh?
Launchbox. Launchbox. Yes.
Launchbox. Oh, yeah, Launchbox. I'm sorry. Yes. Yeah, you're right. Yes, you're right. Launchbox. That's what I was thinking. Launchbox, because you have Launchbox and Big Box. Because Launchbox is their free version, and then Big Box.
Windows, yes.
Yeah, Big Box gives you all the stuff. But Hyperspin, yes, Hyperspin's another one, a different thing. So, but Hyperspin is a lot of work to set up.
Yes.
RetroArch, a lot of work to set up. And like you said, you may spend hours setting it up before you ever play your first game. And it's not very user-friendly when you're looking through the menu to what does what.
Even for me, it's hard to set it up. I have used RetroArch, and it supposes that I know how it works. I have seen the code, and for me, it's hard to use it. So I cannot think about other people. I don't know. I think about people like my father or an uncle. How it would be impossible for them to use it.
Yeah, they would give up.
Exactly.
They would give up.
Hey, Todd, can you
I lost
post that across the bottom?
Oh, I'm sorry.
Sorry, one of the last comments from Paul.
Can
you post that across the bottom? I thought that was pretty
Paul. Okay. Yeah.
Oh, thanks.
Yeah. Paul, and you have Gary also. So one of the other features that I had noticed that you added recently was the ability to launch other emulators. Like I want to say Dreamcast. Or wait, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
That is part of the announcement that I wanted to make today.
Oh.
I don't know if we can do it now.
Yeah. Well, hey, all right. So before we show the retro, let's talk about. So that's what what RetroX is, what it is now, and then now Franco's working on the next step, and so we can talk about that. Sorry, I got ahead of myself.
Yes. Look, at the time that Launchbox announced that they will have an Android version, I was worried at the beginning because they have a very good product for Windows. So I started to think, what can I do to move RetroX even forward, to make some features that maybe they are not core, but they can be very important for the future. And I wrote a document with all the ideas, and I started working on it. For example, the EmuMovies integration was part of this plan for the new version. I call it RetroX 3 because we are now in the version 2. And there are some features that I think that they are very interesting for many people because they have requested them. For example, today you can play 3DO games and Dreamcast games and Jaguar games in RetroX, but the experience is not so good because the emulator in RetroX is not so good. That is because I have to modify the emulators to integrate them with RetroX, so they have to be open source. But there are other emulators for those systems. There are another emulator for 3DO, for example. It's called Real 3DO, and a lot of people like it a lot. But I cannot use it because it is open. It is closed source. I cannot modify it to make it run integrated with RetroX. So I decided to open the door for this only for these exceptions. So you will be able to run closed source emulators from RetroX, which is basically what every other one does. So it won't it won't run as good as integrated as the emulators that RetroX have today, but at least you will have the option to use those emulators if you want. So that's one of the features that comes in the future.
So basically you're gonna be able to launch third-party emulators that are closed source, that are not part of RetroArch, right? And so they're not part of the RetroArch cores, because a lot of that's, I mean, is that where RetroX pulls their cores from and their emulators? Is their cores coming from RetroArch, and that's why it's easy for you to integrate those into it?
For most systems, I use RetroArch, an old version of RetroArch.
Okay.
For most systems. A few systems use standalone emulators. I can say, for example, Atari 800, PSP, at some point Nintendo 64, Dreamcast, and DOS, PC DOS. Those are standalone emulators. Everything else is RetroArch based. It's running a modified version of RetroArch. I have done some changes in RetroArch. But now there is another door to open for closed source emulators that are not part of RetroArch. Neither are free to use, but some people want to use it. 3DO with real 3DO, for example, and there is an emulator for Dreamcast that is very popular. I can't remember the name.
Redream.
Yes, Redream.
Redream works very well, and that's one emulator that I have outside on my Android, which is actually on this. I'm a Shield for when I'm running Dreamcast games, because it runs extremely smooth, and it's but it is a paid. It's a paid thing. I can't remember what I paid, like maybe $4 or $5, maybe, I don't even remember, but it is a paid thing, but it works very well because it's like you said, it's closed source. It's its own app. It's not part of RetroArch.
Yes, and another one is EPCX, which is a PlayStation emulator with hardware acceleration. It's very popular as well.
Yeah, I've seen that in the Google Play Store. What's it? EPSX.
Yes, something
like that. It is, but it's the emulator for PlayStation.
Yes.
So if you have a PlayStation ISO bin files, because they're not zips, they're a bin. What's it? A bin ISO, I think, or bin Q, something like that.
Yes.
I think PlayStation. I can't remember. So those play like that. So you're going to offer that. I was going to post, because I was actually going to, where I had the other things that you talked about. So the bezel projects, you've already added that, correct? Yeah. The new bezels, so that it gives it that look of an arcade machine.
Yes. For example, if you're using Raspberry Pi, the last time I saw it, and you wanted to use the bezel projects, you have to set it up yourself. You have to enable an option to I don't know. You have to enter a text menu to do that. In RetroX, you have only to choose if you want black borders, you want a static background, or you want which I call live backgrounds, which is basically the game running expanded in the background. No emulator has that feature. That's a feature exclusive to RetroX. And I added the bezel projects, so you have to only enable that option, and RetroX will download and install the bezel automatically for you.
Yeah, I've seen that. Now I'm going ahead and I'm going to go through this. This is with the theme project turned on. So let me back out, and I'm going to try to back out. It's under this, and don't I have to just go TV mode if I'm not mistaken? And this will go back to, so I have to close and reopen.
Okay, so I'm seeing a black screen right now, just so you know.
Oh.
Is that normal?
No.
I'm also seeing a black screen.
No, that's not normal. Hold on a second. Let me.
Yeah. Okay.
All right. So I gotta. So this is where I needed you, babe.
Well, thank God I'm here then, honey.
Yeah, because see, all right. So let me close out some of this. Hold on a second. I was running through it. So
I do see that. I do see the blue screen with a yes or no thing in it. Okay. I don't know if that makes any difference.
All right, so let me pop this back up. So you see that? Okay, so let me.
And I see something in behind it. Looks like DIA, like media.
Yeah, it's my media thing saying that it's. I might have to reopen. All right.
No signal. That's what it said.
Okay, now do you see my shield?
Yeah, like I see. Well, I see an upper and a bottom little. Yeah. I see capture screen.
All right. Oh wait. This is needs. I got too many remotes. I got it. Now I got to go to my shield. Am I seeing? Are you seeing? Let's see. I'm gonna try to open.
I'll be right back. Franco will answer you. I'll be right back.
Okay. All right. So is RetroX opening for you?
I can try it. I have a development version here. Okay. Maybe I can share my screen.
Yeah, you can share your screen. I don't know. Yeah, it's giving me a black screen. What the heck? All right, let me get rid of that. So that didn't work out so well. It plays well. It was looking fine for me.
It doesn't give me the option to choose the emulator.
Are you using Chrome or using Firefox?
Chrome.
Okay, well, Chrome usually gives you the option up there.
Let's see.
Sorry, guys. I was hoping I was trying to use my other computer capture device because the shield's not very friendly with sharing through this. That's weird. I can see that.
No. For some reason, I can share my screen, but it's a two. I have two displays. It's very wide.
Do you have to? If you share your whole screen, does it?
It's very wide.
Oh, okay.
Because I have two monitors.
I got you.
And for some reason, it doesn't give me the option to share the emulator screen.
All right, what I'm going to do, let me try to reopen my, all right, so is it still showing a black screen for me, Franco?
Right now, I can see the three cameras.
Oh, that's because I closed it. All right, let me try. I forgot I had to. All right, let's pop over here again. Here's me. Share my screen. Don't show me these tips anymore. All right.
Maybe I can share a video from YouTube showing the bezels or a screenshot. I have some.
What about now? Is it showing my capture screen?
Let me see. No, I only see the three cameras.
What the heck? Oh, the three cameras. Oh, hold on a second. There's dabs. Okay, so there's dabs again. All right.
Now I see
shield. Yep. The thing saying that the.
Yes, there is the shield.
There's the shield. All right. I had to close it and then reopen it.
Okay.
So all right. So this is my shield with my the games that I have in here. And so let me go in here, manage games, and now this is the default look.
Yes.
Right. Default look. Used to have to go into the gamepad settings, and this is where you would push the buttons for what it is. So if you use another controller, you'll have to do that.
Now that option is optional because in the past there was no stand-up for Android buttons, but today every controller has the same buttons, so they are detected automatically.
So we can go in for like display, and this was one of the things we talked about. You have the bezel projects; you can turn this on and off.
Yes, but there is a bug.
Oh, there's a bug.
In the TV mode.
Okay.
In the TV mode, they don't work. You need to switch to the themes mode.
Okay. Well, I was going to go to the themes mode in a second.
Okay.
So we're gonna. I'll just click on bezels, and I'm going to back out, and I'm gonna go down here to themes. Yes. I did turn off the music. Now you added music, and it has that 80s arcade music that's in there. So to go to themes, you have to go here, and you have to turn on TV mode with themes. And this, you have to close it, and this is going to cause me a problem. All right, I might have to click back over here because RetroX closed. Is RetroX opening for you on the screen?
Yes.
Okay. Okay. So this is the default theme, and I actually really liked. For me, what was it under display? And where people can upload and create their own themes, right?
Yes.
Comic book theme, that was like a RetroPie theme. I've seen that a lot on.
Yes, several themes are ports of RetroPie.
Yeah, this Cabnazi, that's another one that I've seen. In this PJ, now this PJ one, PJ's 80s.
That's an original theme.
I really like this. Now, one of the reasons I really like this, so if you were, let's go to Amiga, it actually plays the commercial for the Amiga that was playing back when the Amiga device came out. This was the commercial you'd see. Atari 2600, same thing. It'd be the commercial that you saw back in the, was it 80s, something like that?
Yes. There is a background story about this theme. PJ is Paul James. Paul James was a very supportive user of RetroX, and he passed away.
Oh.
So Stuart Lowe made this theme as a way to remember him.
Wow.
That's why the name PJ's Room.
I gotcha. I really like this one. One of the things, I don't know if you guys can see it down here at the bottom, it actually shows you how many games are available, like how many games I have for Dreamcast. You can see that there. And this is the games. Here's my Final Burn Alpha. So let's go. I'm gonna go to something simple. I forgot about the Jaguar commercial until I watched this, and it gives you the Jaguar commercial, and I kind of remembered it. I was like, wait a minute. I remember
24 bits.
Yeah,
that's a lie.
Yeah, this is actually kind of a bigger theme, but real neat thing. So one of the things I'm gonna just open up, and I'm gonna show you guys. Let's go to Nintendo, and there you can see the games that I have over here. I think it's 700 and some. If you hit the right button, yeah. You can go right to the letter. So today I was actually playing a little bit of Tecmo Bowl today, and you can add these to your favorites. And what was it? The Y button?
X.
Or X. X. Oops. Oh, didn't mean to do that.
Or maybe the Y.
Yeah, I had to back. So and then wait, it's XX. Come on, wake up. Other one. I think I closed the app. Oh, let's go over to my NVIDIA remote. Sorry, I got 2 mouses, 3 remotes. So really cool, a bunch of themes added to this. If you want to add games to your favorites, it does have a recently played. So here's all the games you can see. Like today I was playing this. And today I played that. You actually can see the games that you played. You can see where I was doing a bunch of I was trying a bunch of Dreamcasts at one point. And there's, and you can see now the reason why that closed, I was using the wrong emulator.
Okay.
So let's see down at the bottom. If I look down here at the bottom, it tells you what I need.
X should be there. Settings for this
settings.
Game.
Yeah. There we go. So I'm trying to use 10. Let's try the 3. Let me see if that loads up. So the first time you get it, it actually has to install the emulator, the cores that it needs.
It's everything by the man. RetroX will try to find everything that you need to start the game. So if you don't have the emulator, it will download it for you.
So yeah, like you said, MAME can be a little pain, and I just installed this, so I don't have this set up with which emulators it needed. So I don't remember. Okay, so Popeye's working. So I actually had that set correctly. Look at how good that looks. So good on my TV. So back.
Something happened.
Yeah, it's because I'm hitting the. It's not on this one. I don't think it's both. I don't think I hit the start and backup button or home. I think. Oh, that's right. On the new. See, I have 2 controllers. I have my 2015 controller and I have the 2017. You remember they changed the home button, the location of the home button. So the buttons for back and start were side by side on the new remotes. That's why, because I keep hitting home. That's why. I was like, I couldn't figure out why I was going home, but works really good. I mean, this is easy to use, different themes.
Now you have to say that you have your NVIDIA Shield without RetroX this morning, I think. And
Yeah.
So how much time did you spend getting to it?
About other than I installed the APK and then I told it, I didn't even tell it where the ROMs were, because remember I said that I had my ROMs in the right folders. I had to all I had to do is tell it to look to the external drive. 5 minutes maybe, because the ROMs were already in the folders and in the correct folders, so it already knew. So 5 minutes maybe that I was going through there, and I was able to play. But then I started downloading themes because I couldn't help downloading themes. I had to mess around with it. So you can be, if you have the ROMs, you can be up and going in 5 minutes, pretty easily. And again, if it's MAME,
finding ROMs is pretty easy too.
Yeah. You can go around. We talked there. There's torrents for it. There's websites for it. If you're going to do it from websites, please use a VPN. But there's places that you can get it. If you own the game, you're allowed to have the ROM, but you're not allowed to have the ROM if you don't own the game. So that's kind of the way that it runs. Now, how many systems does this support?
28.
28. Yes. I was gonna go through. Let's see. I think is it game settings where I can? With this theme, it's weird to look at it. Okay, so this screen is where if you wanted to add a single game or a single system. So if you got some Genesis games and you have them in a folder, you would go to here and you would click this and you would tell it what folder has your Genesis games, and it would do it. Now manage folders. What was that? I'm trying to remember.
Yeah, just go to the option. Then you will see your RetroX collection at the beginning.
Mm-hmm.
It's found. And when you add folders, you will see the list of folders below. So you can remove a folder or re-scan a folder. For example, if you have a folder with games and you add more games, you have to rescan it to add the newer games.
So it kind of looks like if you've maybe moved something and it's no longer not found, you could take it out then?
No, that's because the not found is because RetroX shows you what folders he's trying to look for games to be automatically added to this.
Yeah, I think Blue, you're right. Like if you had it scanned in and it was in one folder, then all of a sudden you moved it. Yes, you would have to remove the one folder and add the new folder
because you don't need it looking there anymore.
Right. As you can see where mine, it's looking in storage. It tells you that I have a retro box folder, and then all of my folders are in that one place. And it does make it very easy. You can add one game or a whole system. Here's the part where you can get artwork.
Yes.
And you can see I have this where it's pointing. Where's it? I actually changed the storage so it was not using the storage on my NVIDIA Shield. It's actually using it on my external drive. So you can see where you do that. And you can sync here. This is where you would sync and you tell it what platform are you looking to update. Like if you add a bunch of Nintendo stuff, you can go through and add that. And then I do like the part where you can add the quality. What kind of quality do you want?
Yes.
So let me go to my all. So let's see. My MAME, I got 7,400 on that, which is not a lot when you look at some of these people. I got one 3DO game, which is Road Rash. No games for PSP right now. I think I'm at about 11,000 games on this thing here. Let's see, all games. Well, yeah, 11,000. So yeah, and some people you think 11,000 games. I'm like, no, that's not a lot for some folks that we know in the community that are rolling 400 gigs or 500 gigs of.
But that's what's ridiculous. Okay, sorry, but it is a little ridiculous. It's like Mark with his Plex, where he's got 11,000 movies. You know, you're not going to watch 99% of those, just like you're not going to play 99% of your 10,000 games.
No, I'm going to go back and you're going to go to recently played or my favorites, because it is nice that you can add things to your favorites.
It's exciting that you can have them all. It totally is. But I know for me, I would be picky about which ones I want to have on there, because it's like Netflix, where you can spend all night just flipping through what they have to offer without actually picking anything. You do the same thing with games. Oh, that'll be fun. Oh, wait. Okay, wait. No, I really like that one. You know what I mean? When you have too many picks, it gets a little crazy.
Yeah.
Todd just totally ignored me there and just did the.
I heard I listened to you, honey. I heard you. I was while you were talking. And yes, you're correct about that.
You were busy scrolling, and we know men can't multitask, so you didn't hear a word I said.
There's only one thing I can multitask. All right, so I wanted to show this, and now are you able to see my file X? Okay, so this is where I was talking about the retro box folder, which, if you look here, this is on my external drive, and you can see it up there at the top. It's the 56D. And these are all the folders, and they're named correctly so that when I drop any MAMEs, any ROMs in any of these folders, it knows what's supposed to be in that folder. And that does make the process quite easy. Let me go to the MAME. When you go to MAME, you'll see that there's 4 folders. Why does this one have another subfolder? Oh, whoa, I got a subfolder. There's a subfolder inside 14 or 10. I don't know why. But that makes it a lot easier. So if you got let's see, Game Boy Classic, I got 2100.
Game Boy Color.
Color. Yes, you're right. Yeah. So this does make it quite a bit easy. So if you're a person that's wanting to play retro games, you're not wanting to put a lot of work into it, can you do this free? Yeah, you could do. There is free options, but you're going to put more work in.
Would you rather avoid all the headaches of setting it up?
There's more work.
Yeah, you would.
There's more work to it. And so you've got to decide for yourself which direction you want to go. All right, so let me go.
It's like growing fruit. For example, if you want to have a tree of apples or oranges, you can do it. You can do it for free.
Oh yeah, you're right. It's a lot of work.
It's a lot of work, yes. So you have the option to go to another place where people can sell it to you, ready to eat. They are options.
Canuck Gal, if you go back, Canuck, I have a video about 2 years ago, I think, that I created. I'm sure that Franco knows there's several videos about setting this up. I want to say that I did a video 2 to 3 years ago on me setting it up. And I showed you how to set it up. There'll be some changes because of the advances since then. Because I think back then I did have to set up the controller.
Yes.
Map the controller. Which,
so in other words, you can skip that 20 minutes of Todd's video.
Oh, babe. Dang. Yeah, maybe all right, maybe 15 minutes of the controller. So, but yeah, you can set that up and you can do a YouTube search. Franco, any suggestions for people that have done videos?
Yes, I made a short video that is called 5 minutes tutorial. So you can get your first game under 5 minutes, and you will find how to install the APK, and then how to add one game and start it.
In 5 minutes?
5 minutes, yes.
I can't even say hello in 5 minutes.
Oh, there it is. Okay, hold on. I got it.
5 minutes.
RetroX 5 minutes tutorial.
Yes,
that is
one. Yes.
I'm going to post that in the chat group.
Way to go, babe. Way to go.
It's quite old. Even that video has the old name, RetroX TV.
Retro. And all right, so the reason why when you say RetroBox and RetroX, they are the same, but you had to change the name at one point years ago.
Yes. I did it because there was another project to build a hardware that was called RetroBlocks. So it was very similar name. They later changed the name, but I think that the RetroX name was quite good. It's short, very easy to remember. The only problem is that people always ask if the name is RetroX or RetroX, and I don't know.
I do like the sound of RetroX.
RetroX?
Yeah, RetroX. Actually, that sounds pretty cool too.
One of the other things I was going to mention, we were going to talk about, you have some other projects that you're working on.
Yes.
That are not game related. So we'll branch off of the gaming stuff.
There is one that it's a bit game related because it's related to all computing. In the 80s, we had several computers like the Atari 800, Commodore C64, the CX Spectrum, and they were very popular and very easy to learn to program. It was very easy to create games for those computers. Very simple games, but fun games. And later in the 80s, many of us were waiting for new versions of these computers, but instead of that, there were a new generation of computers like the Atari ST or Commodore Amiga, the 16-bit computer generation. And I thought that there is very easy to create an old computer, a computer that may have existed after the smaller ones, a computer in the year 1988, for example. So I started designing a new computer, which is some kind of some kind of evolution of the smaller ones. The idea for the future is that people that want to learn to program these computers can do it easily with this one. You can also port some games to this new computer that is very similar to the Atari 800, but it has more modern features, like more colors and better sound. The plan is today there is an emulator for that computer, and the plan is to make it run on its own hardware. That's the Catherine Labs project. I watched a documentary about the transistor, and I saw the name Bell Labs, so I made myself Catherine Labs.
Kathleen Labs.
Catherine Labs, and under Catherine Labs, I have been working on this new computer. I'm also doing other projects, like there is a music player called Simius Player, or Simple Music Player. This is an application for Linux to play all formats like MIDI, and MP3, of course, and Amiga mod files, in a way that is very easy to interact with the music. So you can, for example, watch which are the notes of the MIDI file, or you can turn on and off some channels. And that application, at some point, I saw that it was a good idea to make it work out of the computer and make it work as a standalone hardware. So I'm doing some tests with the Raspberry Pi and using an LCD screen. And it's very cool. At least the people that have used it find it very cool. I, of course, find it very cool. There is a way to use it with a phone, so you can control the music player, the hardware music player, with your phone, and you can switch on and off your channels, or move the music forward, backwards, or you can, for example, turn the voice off, so you can easily turn your music into karaoke, for example.
Oh, cool.
So when you talk about the different channels, if I'm getting this correctly, you're basically like the tracks, like the drum tracks or the guitar tracks, the bass tracks, the vocals, you can turn on or off any of those. Is that what you're saying? You're able to turn off any of those certain things?
There are two ways to do it. There are some file formats that are native multi-track formats. So you have the tracks separated: the drums, the bass, the guitars, the keyboards, voice, etc. There you can turn on and off if each track. For example, if you want to listen to Queen, the Bohemian Rhapsody song, you can listen only to the voice of Freddie Mercury, for example. But in other formats, for example, in MP3 files, you cannot do that. But using a trick, you can turn the voice off. It's a simple trick, but it works with many songs. Especially
That is cool.
rock songs. Yes.
So you're making your own. Yeah, you could do your own karaoke. Or I'm thinking, if you were somebody that's wanting to learn how to play songs, if you're a guitarist, if you're able to turn off the guitar on the song, then you are hearing and you're like, am I playing right with the band? Or
yes, you can do it. You can do that with multi-track. You need multi-track for that. Yes,
that is cool.
Fortunately, there are many songs that are available in multi-track format. And this is happening quite similar to the ROM sharing movement. There are many songs that I don't know where they come from, but very popular songs that you can find in multi-track format, and you just put it in a folder in this device, and you can manage the tracks with your finger. It's the same principle of RetroX. just put your songs, and the application will do everything for you.
Wow.
So when we talk about when you have these other projects, I mean, you're not a one project guy. And if I'm not mistaken, now you do a show. Am I right?
Yes.
There's a live show that you're on, or you guys tape it, because I see you talking with one or two, three other guys that are like in a studio a lot of times.
Yes, it's called Rocket. It's the name is Rock IT for Rock and Information Technology, and it's the same as Rocket, like Rocket. Roquéalo en español, in Spanish, roquéalo. And we do a show every week on Monday, and we talk about news, and we have guests sometimes to talk about critical things that happen here in Chile. For example, there was a big attack on a bank a few weeks ago, and we had a security specialist to talk about that.
Wow.
We had another attack to some government systems, so we talk about that as well. Sometimes we invite people to talk about their own products. In general, we talk about technology things.
Mm-hmm.
I also have made some TV shows as well. The last year we made a show about robots. We show in this show we did some things with Arduino, 3D printers. It was a 6-chapter show, but it was very well welcomed. And by a strike of luck, when the COVID came to Chile, the government created a channel for education. That's what's a good thing that they did. And one thing.
Yeah. Look at glass half full. They did one thing.
Yeah.
All right.
And this channel had my show about robotics.
Really?
Yes.
That's cool.
It was very cool. I knew that they were presenting the show when people started to add me to Twitter. I also made a show about technology in 2016.
Mm-hmm.
I talk about Linux in those years, and before that in 23 and 25. I have done several things. I do everything I can. I try to.
All right, so Redneck said he sees that there's some guitars, which he is a guitar. He's a music guy because he actually played music on my 50th birthday party. He played "Happy Birthday" for me. So what he said, what kind of music do you play?
It's very broad. I play metal, heavy metal, progressive heavy metal. I like a lot Dream Theater, for example.
Sorry, I'm going to interrupt for 1 second. Gotti reminds me of Mid.
Yeah. Yeah. All right, go ahead. Sorry. Go ahead, Franco.
I also play all 80s rock, Europe like songs.
Oh yeah, I'm all about the 80s. I know all about it.
Cock rock. That's what we call it in Canada. I don't know if the rest of the world calls it cock rock. But
cock rock. I thought it was hair bands. I thought 80s would be like the hair bands.
I have heard the term adult oriented rock, AOR.
Alternative rock?
No. Adult oriented rock, AOR. I also play popular songs from, they are Latin singers like Alejandro Sanz. There is a band called Maná. Mostly
Enrique Iglesias?
What?
Is it Enrique Iglesias?
Enrique Lisa, no.
No.
That's all I know.
So all right. So I would assume now. Do you play in a band out? And do you just play for yourself, or do you play in a band out in public? Not pre-COVID. I'll say pre-COVID because we know nobody's playing in a band out right now.
Right now, only for myself.
Yeah, but
So
pre-COVID.
when I get stuck doing coding, I pick a guitar and start to play and think about anything.
That is really cool, actually.
Yes, it's a very good way to stop thinking about code and to move more than the only fingers. Pre-COVID, no, I didn't. I always I had a band, but in the 90s, a lot of time ago, and I played with some coworkers in I don't know, maybe in 2010. Doing some covers, but it's very hard to rehearsal with a band and go to a rehearsal room and spend the day. It's very complex, and so I prefer just to listen to a song that I like, pick up my guitar and play some minutes.
And that's one of the things, and I will touch on the point of when we're talking about coding, and you talk about the code that goes into RetroX to make it work. And to make it work on the NVIDIA Shield, they've said it's only got to work on the NVIDIA Shield. That's one thing. But when it has to work on multiple Android OSs in multiple devices, that's not just I made it for this one and it works. You have to actually go in and do the coding and create it. You're not creating a fork, and a lot of times I think we're spoiled. A lot of us are spoiled because everything's immediate. We have everything at our hands or right at our fingertips so often, and a lot of times when someone creates something, they're really not creating it. They just took somebody else's work and they'll rebrand it and stick their label on it and say, look what I created. And you were like, well, no, you really didn't create it. Whereas what you're doing, you are using back ends. You're using the cores from RetroX, but you're having to create that front end to make it work and to work seamless with that back end.
Yeah,
and that does take coding.
Anytime there's changes in Android, and he's got to change the actual APK. Yeah.
Yes, I can show some code if you want.
Yeah, show us code. Franco Zeppelin. All right, so we got that. I'll go ahead and make that full screen so that there you go.
Let me choose the RetroX project. Well, as you can see, I'm working in several projects at the same time.
Yeah, only one or two things going on.
Yes, this is the workspace for RetroX. Here you can see, for example, some emulators that I have modified to fix some problems or to make them work flawlessly with RetroX. Here is RetroX and some libraries. Here are the add-ons. These projects that are closed are the emulators. Let me
That's for the Amiga system there.
Yes,
Amiga.
There are two Amiga emulators here. And this is mostly not my code. But if I go to RetroX, for example, here, nobody has seen this. This is new. I mean, I have never shown the code. I will open here this. Let me put you just one example. For example, the text, the messages that the RetroX shows to the user are in one file that needs to be translated. And in this file, you will see all the messages that RetroX may show to the user.
Okay.
Okay, so I will scroll.
Hey, we've seen the string folders. The strings? Was it string po? That makes me think of when I'm looking at strings po, because in Kodi it'll be a number. It'd be like,
Oh,
that
yes.
number equals whatever your word is or whatever your phrase is.
Yes. So look, it's quite big. This is only the messages. Now
Yeah.
let's see the code. In the code here, for example, these are all the packages that is a group of files. If I open this, those are some files for the code. If I start opening, you will see all the code. Now, if I go to a file, for example, client settings, content manager, it's a lot of code, as you can see.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I know sometimes people see the application running, and it looks very simple. The problem is that to make the application looks simple, you have to do a lot of work.
Yeah.
For example, this file is to launch RetroArch.
Mm-hmm.
If I open this file, the code is a lot.
Over 2,000 lines.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. Right. Well, yeah. 1,800 lines to launch RetroArch, which is on the back end.
Yes. Here's the Amiga code. And well, the themes is here. I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
This is the screen that slides to the right or left. This is the code. So it's quite big. It's not a small application.
Yeah. Well, and like I was saying, it's not like you're not taking this and forking it out. And it goes back to what we've talked about, and I said early on.
Yeah.
This is you choose what you want to use. This is an option. This if you want to use this, does it have its perks? Yes. It's easy to use, easy to set up, very user friendly. But it has a cost.
Is it worth the money? Damn right it is.
So, I mean, you have to say which one's value to you. If you're like, my time is valuable, well, then you're going to pay for the front end of this to make it so you have the time to play and you're not spending all your time on it. Can you do this for free? Sure you can, but you're going to spend a lot of time to get to that point. So use what you want. There's plenty of emulators. And I will say this, I was looking through the Google Play Store. I didn't realize how many of those emulators now all cost. Almost, it was almost there. Well, I won't, not everyone. I'd say 70% of them have a cost. And you're like, oh, that's only $3. Oh, that's only $5. Oh, that's only $8. That's for one emulator. That's to play Super Nintendo is going to cost you $8 for one. Okay. And let's say that you play Super Nintendo, Game Boy Color, Dreamcast. You start adding that up. The cost goes from, it can jump quickly, and then you have to set up every one of those. Every one of those emulators have to be set up. They're all not cookie cutters. They're all not the same thing set up easily. Some of them are more work, some are less work. So
everyone is a different world.
Yeah.
So and you won't find the same features in all of them. In RetroX, what I try to do is that every emulator seems like it was the same. Mm-hmm. And some features like cloud savings you will never get easy on the other emulators. You can do something similar, but you have to set it up, and it's not automatic.
Yeah.
Like in this case,
go ahead, finish. You go ahead.
Like in this case, you installed RetroX in your device, and you got your saves downloaded automatically for you, and
and that's why I was asking, because when I looked, it goes back to, remember the days, I think I did a video on PSP, how well it played on the PlayStation, or the Shield. I was talking about how well compared. I compared it to, I had a T95 box, So I had an Android box, and I tried to run PSP, which didn't run very well on PSP. My Shield did a decent job, and that's out of the box without. Now you can go in and tweak the settings on some of that stuff and make it run better, but that was out of the box, just default settings. It ran okay. And I want to say I tried it with a harder game, which was God of War, because if I was going to test a game, I'm like, I want to try a game that's going to be a little bit more intense. God of War, there's lightning going on, the ships are in the background, he's whipping his whip, and there's a lot going on. So if you're going to test a PSP games, I'm like, I might as well test this game because that's going to tell me if the system runs. And with RetroX, it ran decent, not perfect, but it ran decent if I could have played it. But when I put it on the T95, I was doing a comparison. Not the same. You got that when he was doing his whip, and that was hardware based. I mean, and people say, well, I can get this Android box compared to your Shield. Why would I pay for the Shield? The Shield, you're paying for the processor somewhat, but you're paying for that graphics chip. The graphics chip in NVIDIA Shield is not the same as what you get in an Android box, a Chinese Android box. It's
most Android boxes have GPUs with maybe 4 or 6 cores. Each core is like a CPU, but in this case, it's a graphical processor. Say 6 or 8 cores, and the NVIDIA Shield has 128 cores. That's the size of the difference between the Shield and everything else.
Yeah, and there is when people say, "Can I be a cord cutter with some cheaper device?" Sure, and because I'll tell people what are you wanting to do? You just wanting to play an APK or Kodi or Plex? Yeah, you can get all these other devices will do that, and they'll do it fine. And if you want to really stress the processor and the GPU, that's where you're doing the gaming. Especially the higher end gaming. Not if you're doing Nintendo, Super Nintendo, sure. Most of those other chips will do just fine. When you get to the Cube or Nintendo 64, that was one of those that Nintendo 64 is when you start really seeing that difference starting to where the Shield does a pretty good job at Nintendo 64. Those lower end devices, they're struggling. They can't keep up.
Yes. The same with Sega Saturn. For example, Sega Saturn will not run on cheaper devices. It cannot run.
And the Saturns, and to me, the Saturn is, even with the Shield, it's at that, you're right at that point. Is it enjoyable enough or smooth enough, even with the Shield? The Raspberry Pi, my 3B Plus, it does okay. I think I've read or watched some videos about the Raspberry Pi 4 does a better job. Again, more RAM, better processor, a little bit, and they say that the Saturn does better on those devices. Mm-hmm. But I don't have the Raspberry Pi 4 yet, so.
By the way, RetroX makes some changes on the configuration of the emulators depending on the device being run. For example, if RetroX knows that you are using the NVIDIA Shield, it turns on some features, features that I know that the Shield can use. For example, if I remember correctly, the Sega Saturn, you can run Sega Saturn with different resolutions, with the original resolution or higher resolutions. If you're using the Shield, RetroX will automatically switch to the higher resolution because the Shield can do it. The same with the Nintendo 64, I remember. PSP as well. It makes the user think less about what he needs to run the games.
Because you can go, honestly, into and get RetroArch, and and again, being completely clear, and I'm being honest, you can get RetroArch for free. Mm-hmm. It's a free thing. You can install it, and you can put it, but then you can go through and have to tweak it and tweak and tweak. There's the umpteenth number of tweaks, and you can get it to run exactly perfect. But to play certain games, you might spend an hour, 2 hours setting up to be able to play Daytona. To be able to play Daytona smoothly, you messing with all kinds of anti-alien, the screen line, alias. Yep, and doing all those changes, you can do that. But again, RetroX gives you the opportunity to not worry with it. And as Franco says, he's giving you the opportunity. What his idea is to make it easy for someone to enjoy the games, not spend time setting them up.
Yeah, just for example, there is a very cool feature that is part of RetroArch that is now enabled in RetroX. That is the rewind feature. That, for example, if you are playing a game and you are killed, you can press a button and rewind.
Rewind.
Rewind. And make it better.
That's almost like cheating.
Yes, it's cheating.
It's a cheat. All right. So GoPro Donnie asked a question. Where can
the problem is that that feature doesn't work with all the emulators. For example, if you have it turned on and you try to play Sega Saturn games, the emulator will crash. If you try to play a Nintendo 64 game, the emulator will run slow with that feature enabled. In that case, RetroX knows that the feature is not compatible with those emulators and will turn it off automatically for you when you try to run.
So it's off. It's off by default in certain emulators that it knows that it's not going to run. You automatically default turn it off. Exactly. That's smart. Again, choice is up to you guys. What you want to use, which devices or what applications. In this application's been around. This is like you said, 8 years, and I've been using it 5+ years that I've been using it, and makes the gaming experience very easy. Again, I've messed with all kinds of emulators, and I would consider myself somewhat knowledgeable on how that works. And sometimes to me is even a lot of work. And I'm like, I don't want to have to go through all that. I wanted to answer GoPro Donnie. One of the things, GoPro Donnie, torrents are your friend. But as I've said numerous times, Donnie, and you've watched my videos, use Premiumize, use Real Debrid, use something. Do not join the swarm with your own IP, please, or your own.
You can honestly just Google it. Google in Super Nintendo ROMs and watch what pops.
Yeah, and you'll want a pack. You can find a pack. Just get a pack. Because there are some websites, but most of those websites, Nintendo especially, is going after a lot of those. Emu Paradise got taken down. Numerous sites have been taken down where you could get one ROM at a time, but torrents would be the easiest way to go, and use a Real Debrid, Premiumize, all Debrid. Let them get it for you. You download it, or use a VPN, and just get it that way. Get a pack. I would suggest if you're going to get packs, I tend to go with the USA. For me, I want the USA packs, and I want the ones without the hacks, because some of them. And Franco, you've seen this where there's some that have all those hacks. Like it'll have 25 Super Marios, and in one Super Mario looks like a turd or something, and one is some of them are pornographic almost. I mean, they'll have all these hacks that are you probably don't want. So, what is it? It's shoot. There's a word. It's not verified. There's a word that you can look in your keyword when you look at these packs.
No intro.
No intro. Thank you. Yeah, no intro packs. Look that up, and you'll find those no intros, because that tends to be the real versions without all those hacked versions and all the extras. Because I find them irritating. Maybe you love them. Me, There was a Super Mario that was a turd. It was a turd that he was, instead of being Mario, he was that, and I was like, who did this? I mean, who was like, I guess they were probably baked. They were probably baked, and they were like, man, wouldn't it be cool if Mario was a turd? Let's change all the characters, man. Yeah. So
Somebody was high when they came
that's
up.
what I mean.
With that.
I think someone's like, smoked a big blunt. Man, Mario looked like a big turd. And it was really weird. So, one thing before we go, Franco, I wanted to ask you about that handheld console that I've seen you post on Facebook and Twitter, or maybe that you got out of China, or wasn't it a Chinese thing? That was you could install RetroX on.
Yes, I can go. I have it in the other room.
Okay,
I can go to.
Okay. Yeah. And while he's going, it was a handheld, looked kind of like a PSP. Is reminded me of a PSP, and you're able to install RetroX on it, and you could put the ROMs on it. And I remember him ordering it because he was like, "Oh, I can do this." So I was really curious on how that worked.
That's very cool. I actually really liked my PSP when I had one.
Wow,
I like that you could hook it up to your TV.
I liked my son's PSP, but it wasn't mine. But I hacked it, and I did like it.
I hacked mine too.
I really wanted. I'm actually thought about getting another one just so I can.
Hack that. I had DS.
I hacked the DS. Yeah.
And the Wii.
My ex got so mad because every device that we had, I hacked it within a month or two, and she says, "Can't we just have a device just standard without you hacking it?" I'm like,
I just answered something, and he said, so you're saying that using RetroX, we don't have to download the emulators, just the ROMs,
right? RetroX it'll say, one of the things I will say to you, Alban, when you go, so when you try to launch a game, and it will say it needs that ROM or that emulator, it'll do it. The only thing it does is your shield will pop up with the installation, the APK screen that says, do you want to install this? So you're actually installing another thing, so that you will get another pop-up saying, do you want to install that emulator? So you will do that.
Just say yes, and it does.
Yeah.
And
then you say install. You'll have to say install.
He doesn't have to go grab the emulators.
Nope.
But they aren't installed initially, but it'll pop up and say, hit yes to install it. You install it and done.
Yep. Because Franco, there goes the thing. Franco's not going to install every single emulator because he's like, he wanted it small.
It's
so
like,
you only needed what you needed.
Like for those of you that use the K word there, it's like when people do builds and they have the add-ons, but they don't have them installed. So when you click the name of that add-on, it'll say, do you want to install this add-on? And you click yes, and it does it for you automatically. It's the same thing.
Perfect example. Yeah, perfect. I'm sorry. Go ahead, Franco.
This one?
There you go. Yeah.
Yes, it's more like the Nintendo Switch, I would say, more than the PSP. I haven't used it yet.
You've had that. Wait, I saw you post about that a while back ago.
What's it actually called, though?
What?
Like, what's it called, and where'd you get it?
It's called the Droid Pocket 2.
Droid Pocket 2?
Yes.
Droid. Oh, you got it, babe.
Droid.
Right away.
Retroid. Yeah. I remember because you were posting about that when you were waiting for it to come in the mail.
Yes, but I haven't used it. The day I tried to use it, I don't remember what happened, but I think my internet service provider was having problems, so I couldn't try it. And then I have been this day going out and back to the city, so I haven't tried it yet.
Oh, come on now. What do you mean? You've been waiting? So I've seen, but you can install RetroX on that.
Yes.
Yeah.
It comes with RetroArch and Dig, I think, but you can install RetroX and use it here.
Mm-hmm.
But
and it has an SD card slot, a micro SD slot on it?
At the bottom.
Okay. Yep, I see it. Okay.
Okay, where'd you get it from, though?
There is a site called Get Retroid, I think, or Get Pocket. I don't remember the name. Retroid.
Yeah, I remember.
Go.
I remember the
Go Retroid.
What is it?
Go Retroid.
A droid?
Redroid, the Retroid, Retroid.
I wrote it in
Because it was like
private chat.
Okay.
Retroroid. Retroroid? How do you
It feels very solid. It feels quite very professional made. I have tried other Chinese devices, and this
It says $80. So I'm guessing that's American.
yes,
Okay.
plus shipping.
Yeah.
They charged me about $100 for shipping.
Whoa. $100 shipping alone?
To Chile, yes. DHL Chile.
Oh, but geez, like honestly, if you can put RetroX on it, like
Yes, you can.
sky's the limit. Oh Jesus! I just bought Todd his Christmas present. Now it looks like he's getting another Christmas present.
Oh no! I don't need that. I got my joystick coming. And my joystick, I'm gonna try that on my RetroX and my Raspberry Pi.
Yeah.
Franco, I bought the X tank stick. Have you seen that? It's got like a stick with a ball, and it's like where two people can play. It's got like 8 buttons. And
okay, let's be clear. Technically, you didn't buy it.
Well, it's my Christmas present. It's my Christmas present because I've been looking at. I was gonna build one because you can go through Game Solutions, you can build it, but it was gonna cost me $200 just to build it. Plus, if I got the ball, it was gonna cost another $50. So I just didn't want to spend that. So I found the tank stick, X tank stick. With it's 20 pounds, which I'm gonna be able to put it on my little coffee table, with 2 joysticks, trackball in the middle, and I'll be able to hook it to my Shield or my Raspberry Pi, and be able to play my Android games, and it'll give me that more arcade-ish feeling.
It's a complete different experience. I have some friends that have those kind of arcade controllers. And it's very different to play with that. It's great.
Yeah. I've been talking with Blue about it for what, a year and a half, that I was going to buy that.
Probably even longer, actually.
I was like,
year. Feels like year.
I'm going to wait. I'm like, I'll never spend that much money. She's like, just buy it. I'm like, no, I don't want to.
Yeah, I said I'll get it for you for Christmas. Let's do it.
And then there's been three. Atari came out with one. It's $99 at Micro Center, $99. But when I read the article or read the reviews, people were like, it was really cheaply made. The joysticks and stuff are real cheap.
That's not good.
Yeah, the thing is that they can skimp on those joysticks and those buttons. They can save money, and that's probably where they did. There was that. There was the other one that, what was it called, honey? That because Sam's Club had it, and I was going to get one from Sam's Club. I can't remember who had that one, which it actually had an own interface. At Games. Eight gamers at Games, and people are like, crap. They've made nothing but crap. Yes. Don't buy nothing from them. Yes. So I was like, okay, all right. So I don't want that because it's going to be crap. And then I started looking, and it said the tank stick. They're like, if you're going to get one that's pre-made, this is going to be your best buy. It's lifetime warranty.
Our goal is because we're going to have a man cave, and it's going to have, theater stuff. But we also want to have like a little arcade game, it'll be like the TV mounted on the wall, and you can sit down. We'll have the bar, but you can sit and play video games if you want. Probably Raspberry Pi, hun, is what you'd use.
Yeah. Because my thought is, and I told Blue, I want a table up against the wall, and I'm going to get not a big TV, maybe a 30-inch TV mounted on the wall. Then take this I'll call it a game pad. Set that game pad on the table, high boy tables or high boy chairs. So I have like bar stools, and they have the game pad mounted there on the table, and then take my little small Raspberry Pi. I can mount that behind the TV, so you don't even see it. and boom, I've got the arcade experience sitting at a bar.
Okay, and can I just say, best wife ever?
Yeah.
I'm encouraging all this. I'm like, man cave. We're putting video games, and we're having the surround sound with the theater chairs, and we're doing.
Yeah, we gotta have a comfortable place to watch movies.
Yeah.
In the first floor, I have a space for playing games, and I have a CRT television, that the older ones, and think that I mostly use RetroX in that TV. I don't use the widescreen TVs. So
Really?
all those features for the bezels and the borders, I don't use it. That is for most people, but not for me. I prefer to use the old TV because the games look quite better.
It's like that rounded front, kind of that weird. Yeah, I know what you mean.
You also get the lines.
And
you get the lines in it.
Exactly.
The graphics look more organic because you don't see square pixels. You see forms. It's a very different experience.
Yeah.
Yeah, Tara's right about that. We need to start the Dabs Cave Fund. We need to get that going.
People were asking about our registry for our wedding, and I'm like, no, we're probably maybe money for a vacation, but okay, you know what? Money for Dab's man cave. There we go. That'll do it. Because people are like, what do you need? And we're like, we have 2 full households. We do not need another blender or another couch or another. We got too much stuff already.
No, I'll be purging everything in here, but other than my electronics will go with me, of course.
Yeah.
But yeah, well, we also got to think of a honeymoon part of it. So
yeah.
So we're at 2 hours, so I'm going to go ahead and close out because we're running long. Miss Blue, did anything you want to say before we roll out of here?
No, just thanks again, Franco. Like, always awesome to see you, and always awesome to hear about the new stuff.
Great. Thanks.
Miss Franco, anything you want to mention or make sure to point out that maybe I might have glazed over, or websites or something to point out?
Yes, retrox.tv. That's the place to go. And if you want to see my other projects, go to this site, Catherine Labs. Here. Catherine Labs.
There you go.
It's dot what?
.cl.
Okay. Cool. And Todd can post that in the show notes too,
yes.
Right?
I will put that in the show notes. So if you guys are watching this after the fact, I will have both of those URLs as well as any of the other important URLs. I try to put those in there. Franco really doesn't have a Twitter, I don't believe. I've never seen him on Twitter.
I have one.
Oh, do you? Okay.
FCAERIN.
Hey,
after the show.
Yeah, I'm trying to think. Wait, maybe you did Twitter today because I think I saw that in notifications. Yeah. All right. So, well, you also have the RetroX app thing, and then yes, you have the F Catrin at So I will put both of those in there so that anybody that wants to reach out to him can reach out to him. And thanks again, Franco, for coming on the show. Enjoy having you on here. I enjoy your work. I really do. I appreciate the work that goes into it. I don't think that people truly understand or appreciate what goes into making it easy for us on this end.
Yeah, and maintaining it. Yeah.
I think that so often everybody wants a modded version of this and a modded version, a hacked version, so that I don't want to pay for that. Okay, I understand that in a certain aspect, but also the people that are creating this stuff to make it work.
Well, $12 a year. Come on.
It's a lot of work, and I just want to say thank you for the years that you've put into this. And if RetroX is not your game and you're like, hey, I'd rather do something that's free, there's free options, but you're going to find you're going to give and take. You're either going to give a bunch of time or you're going to give a little money. You're going to do one or the other.
Yeah. Unless you make, $1 an hour at your job, $12 is worth it not to have to put those hours in.
Yeah. And in Canada, that's only 1 hour's work because the minimum wage in Canada is over $12 an hour. So now in the US, you got to work 2 hours.
15, I believe it's 15, but anyways.
Yeah, 45 minutes in Canada, and you've already paid for the year for RetroX. America, you got to work 2 hours.
Yeah, you totally do.
Now, Chile, I don't know how much you got to work there.
8 hours.
8 hours. yeah, he's like, it makes money. So thanks again for Franco coming on here. Welcome anytime he wants to come on. I try to support the people that are creating stuff out there. If you got a build or working on a project or something that you'd like to share with us, I'm more than welcome to have you come on here, show what you're working on. Because I feel like some of this stuff is worth it. And I hope that we gave the full view of this, and then you can decide.
If you're a gamer, you want this. If you have a shield or a pretty good device, you want to play games, you want this.
It's easy. It's easy. God. And you're only going to make it better once you add, especially when you add those third party, that door, I'll say a door to open in third party APK or add-on apps to be able to enjoy some of that other stuff. It's even going to be better. So thanks for your work, and thanks for continuing. And we'll be here next week or next Wednesday, babe. What's our movies next Wednesday?
Oh God, put me on the spot. I don't even remember.
What? The biggest movie, Cool Hand Luke. Cool Hand Luke is Dab's choice next week.
Who had the other pick?
Andrew. And he had Frailty with Matthew McConaughey.
God's favorite.
So yeah, and Josephina says, "Say hi to all your haters."
I just wanted to say, Josefina is my girlfriend.
Oh,
oh really?
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, I know that she was watching the show today. She's very supportive.
Tell her, you can tell her with safety that the 4 thumbs down have nothing to do with you.
No, we know.
It's all about right here.
the thumbs down for me are the word, I lost the word. The envy counter. No, the loser counter.
Yeah,
we have 4 losers.
Yeah. I have been picking up more. I do seem to be lately been picking up more haters as it goes. I don't know. I make people mad, and it's like, you know what?
It comes down before the show even starts. You know what, dude? Whoever did that, you're a fucking idiot. What do you think of that?
It doesn't matter. This isn't my life. Well, it's my hobby, but it's not my living. So thumbs down really don't cost me anything. So thumbs down all you want. So, but thanks for coming on here, and we will be here for the 2 movies next Wednesday. Franco, if you're ever into watching some of these movies, or Josephina, if she watches any of these movies, we welcome new people to come and tell us what you think about the 2 movies that we do each week.
Yeah, you come on and say, I hated it, or so-and-so was awful, or I love it.
It's fun because so much, and that was one of the things that when Blue and I were first talking about that show on Wednesday, we said we have availability to content whatever we want to watch, right? We can watch whatever, whenever. And most of us watch almost nothing. And, I'll talk to these people for coding.
I love superhero stuff.
And we'll say, I'll ask people that have been on the show, I'm like, what's the last movie? Oh, the last movie I watched was a month ago. Or so guess what? This show forces us every week to watch 2 movies every week, and we got to talk about it.
Yeah.
And this week,
you want to watch it or not, you got to watch it.
You got to watch it. And so this week it's going to be Cool Hand Luke, which is the best movie ever made. So just saying, with Paul Newman. Just saying, if you've never watched it, you need to watch that movie. And then then Frailty with Matthew McConaughey, which he's never made a bad movie, so it's got to be good.
Yeah, he has.
No, that's Matthew McConaughey.
What was it? Ghosts of Girlfriends Past?
Wait, you know what? That's my man crush, so leave it alone. You know that.
Oh, yeah.
That's my man crush, Matthew McConaughey.
It's true.
Hey, you guys get to find out stuff about us. Mandalorian is canceled. No, it hasn't.
Don't
No.
say that, you jackass. I'm pretty sure it's not.
Wait, now she's got to go look at. She's getting nervous.
I'm gonna go look, but I don't think
No.
it is.
No, it's not, because I'll say this. I usually talk about streaming news also. Since Mandalorian came out, I read that subscriptions tripled over when Mandalorian was coming out. It says subscriptions had tripled for Disney Plus. So do you don't think Disney's not paying attention to that? They know where their their bread's buttered at.
Seemingly confirmed by Disney Plus. Yeah. Thanks.
I told you.
Mr. Clean, you can shove that right up the wall. Don't scare me like that.
Yeah.
It's
So
one of my favorite things to watch.
yes, it is. All right. So hey, thank y'all. Thanks, Franco. Thanks, Blue.